After being detained by the military junta for 15 of the past 21 years, Burma democracy icon Daw Aung San Suu Kyi was released on the 13th of November, a move that was welcomed by her Burmese supporters as well as the international community. Her release came a week after the holding of the multi-party general election in Burma, the first post in 20 years, which was endorsed by the ruling State Peace and Development Council, or SPDC. Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy, or NLD party, was banned by the junta from participating in the November 7 poll, and in turn, the Nobel Peace Laureate has called on her supporters to boycott this election. Our news correspondent Alex LG caught up with Daw Aung San Suu Kyi at her house in Yangon on the 26th of November and asked her about her life under house arrest and what it felt like to be released and meet her family for the first time in 10 years, the future of the NLD party, as well as her outlook on the political landscape of Burma. You can watch Daw Aung San Suu Kyi's responses in this special interview.
So I just wanted to ask you, how did you pass your time during house arrest?
Well, I was very, very busy. People won't believe this, but actually there weren't enough hours in the day because there's a house to be looked after and it was not in very good condition, so it needed a lot of looking after. And I was the electrician and the sort of handyman around the house, handy woman around the house. And then, of course, I had to listen to the radio about 6 hours a day just to keep in touch with what was happening. There are about 4 Burmese language radio programs, and I had to listen to all of them twice a day, every day, in order not to miss all the Burma issues. And then, of course, I listened to the BBC World Service, and that took up a considerable chunk of my day. And then there were other things to do, such as reading, and I drew a little bit, and listening to music, and just keeping myself normal, if you like, as normal as possible.
Did you ever get frustrated with your situation or sort of give up hope?
No, not at all. I'm not one for going out and going shopping and things like that. I'm very much an indoor person. So apart from the fact that I missed family and friends, it was no hardship for me at all to stay in one place. As long as there were enough books and the radio and other things to do.
I wanted to ask you, what was it like being away from your family for so long?
Well, that of course is not terribly nice, but I don't want to make a big thing of it because I was so much better off than those who are in prison or who have sons or husbands or daughters or family in prison. It's very hard on them because it's not just that they're separated, it's separation plus the thought that those in prison were really going through a difficult time. I was at home and I was in far, far better circumstances than anybody who was in prison.
What was it like seeing your son for the first time in 7 years?
Oh, it was very nice. It's 10 years.
10 years?
But it doesn't feel like 10 years in a way because I feel very close to my sons.
How has he changed? Has he changed a lot since?
He's changed a bit physically, obviously. In 10 years there would be physical changes. But I don't feel he's a stranger, or I don't feel that he's become distant from me. We just take up where we left off.
Do you feel as though being on house arrest has taken its toll on you in any way?
I don't know. As I said, the main thing I missed was family and friends. Apart from that, they treated me very well. The security personnel who were in charge of my house arrests. So I have nothing to complain about, and some of them are really nice.
You've been away from Burma on the house arrest as well. How has Burma changed? It's definitely changed quite a bit.
I haven't noticed too many changes in the city itself, but what I have noticed is that there are a lot more younger people among my supporters, and of course everybody seems to have a handphone, which means is that the communications has improved, which I think is a good thing.
In what other ways has the democracy movement changed?
Well, it's younger, as I said, and they have a lot more technical savvy, which does help, and I think more unity. There is a greater desire to coordinate efforts than to just go one's own way.
What do you think are the biggest obstacles for the democracy movement at the moment?
I think the biggest obstacle is not being able to get to the negotiation table. If only we could all get around a table and talk to each other. All we mean, by which we mean the military, our democratic forces, the ethnic nationalities. I think these three elements have to get together to talk over the future of the country and to be able to come to a solution that is the best for all concerned.
Do you think that the NLD has been weakened by the elections and the formation of the NDM?
Not in the least bit. I rather feel that the NLD has become stronger since 7 years ago.
In what way?
I think it's basically because there's more support, public support. The people, after all, the survival of a political party, and you're probably going to talk about registration and deregistration, but rather than that, the real survival of a political party depends on the support of the people. And during this last 7 years, we seem to have gained rather than lost support.
Right. Do you feel it's important to try and unite the NLD and some of the splinter groups, and the other opposition groups?
Well, I don't make any difference between splinter groups and opposition groups and other parties. I have said that we would be quite willing, we are not quite, but very willing to work in concert with all political groups and individuals if our goals are the same and if they are happy to work with us. I've already met quite a number of independent candidates who contested the elections and didn't win, but still they have a certain agenda politically that they think would be very beneficial to the country, and I don't see why they should not be included in a big network for democracy. I've talked about this, a people's network for democracy. So I would like both individuals and groups to be included in that network.
The people of Burma have been waiting for democracy for a long time. How do you intend to sort of go forward and actually try and realistically achieve?
The really important thing is to empower the people themselves, to make them understand that this is something, not only something that they have to do for themselves, but something that they can do for themselves. I think it's to infuse them with a feeling of self-confidence and to invigorate them with the idea that they are not powerless, or rather to make them understand the power of the powerless, if you like.
You've been out now for a while. You've talked to a lot of people. How do you think the sanctions affected the country?
We don't really know. I was talking to some INGOs just this morning, and some of them brought up the ideas that it was because of sanctions that the humanitarian aid was not coming in as fast and thick as it should. And this is a view with which I totally disagree, because we have never had anything to do with any matter that might have minimized humanitarian aid. We've always said that we are for humanitarian aid, but there has to be transparency, accountability, and independent monitoring, just to make sure that the aid gets to whomsoever really needs it, for those for whom it is meant. So I do not think that sanctions have hurt humanitarian aid in any way. Now, there are those who claim that sanctions have hurt the people because there have been job losses and so on. There is also a different point of view, that sanctions have had very little effect on the economy, and the problems of the economy are to do with the policies of the government rather than to do with the sanctions. So we are very much open to discussion. We have said that we would like to review the sanctions position just to find out where there might be a need for adjustment, readjustment and so on.
Do you feel as though they worked in any way?
I think sanctions have two functions, an economic as well as a political function, and I think mainly these sanctions have had a political function, and I think the effect of the sanctions on the political front has not been inconsiderable. I think it has been considerable.
And that was an excerpt from an interview with Daw Aung San Suu Kyi conducted by our news correspondent Alex Elgie. Thank you for watching us. Bye for now and Swadee Krap.